So this is the ongoing series of Unsound Chess, and I wanted to address something that goes on in the world of tournaments as well as online, and that is chess cheating. And in these days, people use machines, and it's really easy to use machines. But there are so many ways that I've seen people cheating. I'm not the kind of person who runs to the tournament director and goes, "Oh, they're cheating. This is happening. That's happening." I've mentioned once or twice that somebody probably shouldn't be like out in the hall with their phone on, during a round while they're still playing. Um, but that's really the tournament director's decision about what they're doing, and they need to check on it. It's their responsibility, not mine. So, um, one of the interesting things is I have students and I do coach, and occasionally one of the people they're playing seems to go to the bathroom like about 5 times during the opening. Like they get up and they leave and they come back. And only during certain really tough openings. Standard openings they don't seem to want to go very much, and it's never after like meals or when they first arrive. It's like at random times, and it's always during like tough, obscure openings. And um, so the question is, how often do they leave? How often do they go to the bathroom? Secondly, do they have friends? Back when I coached some academic players in academic tournaments, I actually was in the bathroom when a bunch of young boys came in and talked about a game that happened to be a game of one of the students that I coached, and they were having an ongoing discussion about it. And what happened was these boys went to the same chess school with the same chess coaches and teachers, and the strongest one in the group was running around looking at the other one's games. And I went back and I watched, and yeah, sure. He would walk behind all the players, assess all the positions, and they'd all meet in the bathroom, and he would discuss the positions with them. And amazingly, what would happen is it really didn't help that much, because after the players got back and made their initial move, they still had to be able to follow up. They're not as strong as the strongest players, so they could still screw up. And at least in this particular case that I witnessed, they did screw up. So it's not my obligation, as far as I'm concerned, morally, to inform the tournament director. Besides, there's an awful lot of little kids, and it's my word against theirs. And adults are doing this stuff, and the best I can do is in really important situations, occasionally follow somebody to the bathroom who is going too much. And what's amazing is like you see, they're standing in a position like at a urinal stall or something, and all with a light on, and they hear the door open behind them. They're scrambling to put something in their pocket and like get out of there really fast. So, at least they could be going in a stall or locking a door, or doing something else. I don't know, but I don't want to confirm that anybody's cheating. I just want to protect my own players, and I happen to know, I've seen firsthand. I mean, it's obvious that this stuff is going on. And in fact, I've been in academic tournaments where somebody's coach stood behind my player, making signals to their player. When I sit there and watch, and then they try to bar me from the room. So I'm sorry. It's only these coaches that are allowed in, or something. So, I just tell my player, well, you have to be better than their coach. That's what it boils down to. And in this particular case, they were. No matter how many little gestures or little, wide-eyed looks, when somebody like went to make a move, came around, it's, their coaches were like, the somebody assigned to coach the chess team as opposed to an actual chess player. So, at least in this particular case that was going on, my student won the tournament. But the question is also, where are these students going? Are they anywhere but where they're supposed to be? There's an awful lot of players that just run all over the place, even adults. All over the chess tournaments. They're always doing something other than thinking about the game. And when they come, and it is kind of interesting too, to see whether or not they're doing it during their own moves. So in a really tough position, occasionally, if somebody makes a really tough move, and the person leaves, that's a bad sign. It's a sign that they're off staring at the wall to get a better idea of what's going on. That's not good. And the fact is that I've seen this go on so much that it's so widespread, and the tournament directors are getting to be like really officious and like overbearing about some of this stuff in some cases. And the most annoying thing to me is I tend to play a lot online, and um, occasionally I run into it, and this is much more widespread at lower levels. You know, when I'm first reestablishing a profile and I'm assigned a low chess, beginning rating that I dispense with after 5 or 6 games, I'm up where I should be. Um, what happens is occasionally I run into people who play absolutely perfectly, and it just blows my mind. And I run it through a tool. I feel like angry, and I know that this stuff is out there, and all of a sudden I discover, yeah, they didn't make a single error. Um, and at least in one case that I remember, it was playing Blitz, and the person moved really fast playing Blitz. And I don't know how they did it, but I'm sure somebody is aware of how this is done. But in a 5-0 game, they busted a King Bishop's Gambit in a way that I'd never seen before. And I played thousands of King Bishop's Gambits, and they were making perfect, beautiful moves. Busted me to death in like 25 moves. And then I followed them around the rest of their games, and sure enough, they went on a streak where they didn't lose something like 21 games in a row or something. I mentioned that to the moderators, and I said, now it's possible that I'm out of line here, but if you watch this person, they tend to play perfect chess. Now, maybe they were born in a manger or something, and like they just are like, exhibiting something that's just amazing. But in my opinion, there's a problem, and these people get banned. They start running their tools, the moderators, and they say, and I get some big thank you. You helped us eliminate a cheat. So. I've noticed that this goes at lower levels because people aren't that concerned about it or something. I don't think that they're monitored very much. And occasionally I'll play a low-rated person, in which I allow, and I have a pretty high rating, and they play extremely well. Now they're motivated to play somebody high because they can make a lot of points, or they just plug something in. And one of the things that is telltale in my mind is I play a lot of really squirrely, obscure stuff that I'm extremely familiar with. And the chances of them knowing lines like that deep, that I've only seen appear in something like Stockfish 6 or 7, and then there's variances. Like I use Stockfish a lot as a 6, 7, 8. I know the differences in moves between each one of them, like 12, 15 moves deep in some cases in some of these openings, and they're playing them, and it's just amazing. And nobody else has ever played it except this person who's rated this really low rating, really deep in the game. So. I think the probability that they're cheating is about 100% personally, but um, what happens is if I can get them into an ending and move really fast, especially rook pawn endings and wide open endings where there's lots of possibilities, the computers just start to fail and they can't keep up. They can't run fast enough because their judgment, the good judgment, doesn't come until the fifth move they analyze or something, and we're getting toward the end of the game, they're running out of time. So, and there's also an interesting thing that goes on is there are trends where that all of a sudden the big trend against the Latvian is to make one kind of move, and 90% of the players do it, and then the trend entirely changes and becomes another incredibly interesting move. And then what I discover is the chess engines that the site uses to do the analysis have changed. And they're deciding that there's a better move, and sure enough, it's the new move. So I don't know if they're using a chess engine in another window or how that works exactly, but I don't have time to do that sort of thing. It's kind of self-defeating. So how can you tell they're cheating? The bottom line is you don't. You can't really know for sure. You don't really know. Now, I mean, when I hear the kids in the bathroom, then I see them go back. Now I can pretty much tell they're cheating. But online, there's really no way to tell. You might be running up against, the next Alekhine or somebody. So there might be somebody just having a really good day or get really lucky and make a whole lot of good moves. It does happen. So it's a unfortunate fact, and it's much more widespread. And I foresee the day when this is so widespread that it's going to be really, really impossible to, somebody's going to have it on a mechanical pen or something somewhere. And I don't know what they're going to do about it, but it's unfortunate for our game, and it's just too competitive for some people. And that's my 2 cents about it, and I needed to say that. Thank you.